Hello and welcome to Grounds Pass Live. Wait, that says record, not live.
We are not live. We are not doing that again, Nick Carter. We are not doing that again.
I would love it if we genuinely made the opposite mistake, though, because that would be hilarious.
It would be, we're supposed to be live and we're talking, and then we're like, okay, it's been 30 minutes.
Where is everybody?
Where is everybody?
Answer, they're at the McCarran.
They are at the McCarran. Okay, we have a lot to catch up with. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our round 3 roundup. You find us, we're recording on Saturday, the 31st. Novak Djokovic is about to win the third set, I am sure. I'm not really watching. Has he won already? Okay.
Yeah.
I figured he had that match in the bag. But yeah, here we are. We have so much to catch up on. Round 3 stories. We also can catch up on what's been going on at our screenings that we have been doing live at McCarran Park. Yes, let's dive into it. I know, our listeners might not be able to watch every single match, but that is why we do it for you, even though we haven't really been watching every single match as well.
Can we not lie to people, Anastasia? I think that'd be great. I think let's build trust with some people.
Trust. Yes, we need to build trust for sure.
Whilst you were watching tennis in a bar in Brooklyn, which, by the way, is just living the dream, and I am incredibly jealous that I am not there, I was out of the house all day and didn't see any tennis, apart from the end of a couple of matches.
Yeah. So I did watch a few matches today, not the whole day, because we also have lives and we're doing other things as well. And we can't watch tennis 24/7. But yes, I did watch a bunch of tennis today, and we are ready to round up round 3. Before we start, question for you, Nick. Do you have a favorite match or moment from round 3 of Roland Garros?
Can I go with a theme?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going with the theme of underdogs fighting like hell and not quite getting it done. Or maybe there wasn't a lot of hope. And basically what I'm putting that is I'm thinking of last night, my time, I was watching Bernarda Pera play the best tennis I've ever seen her play against Elena Svitolina and losing 2 tiebreaks. And it was pretty heartbreaking because Svitolina was just doing everything she can to make this a contest.
Yeah.
And finding a way to win in those tie breaks, and just Pera couldn't take an advantage. But I was watching it going, good grief, girl, you're absolutely hitting it. And then I cannot tell you how much I was willing Dzumhur to make it 5 against Carlos Alcaraz straight after that. Like, I didn't think he was going to win. I never did. It always felt like an uphill battle. But the man was playing his heart out on Philippe Chatrier, and he was a breakup in the 4th. And I was like, come on, you're probably not going to win this in 5. I think Carlos will switch it on in the 5th. But come on, take it to 5 and have your moment. And he did have his moment because he got that set and he did well. But yeah, for me, I think whilst, and we'll talk about this in a minute, round 3 has not been as crazy as round 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been these moments where you're still rooting for this kind of moment where people can have these moments on court. And there's a few others that kind of fit into that maybe I didn't watch or that you did. Yeah, you could also put Quinn in that category today when she was playing keys. It's hard to call a Grand Slam champion an underdog. That's kind of my theme for round 3 and what I enjoyed about the matches that I did watch.
Yeah, I think that's a really great theme because I think it's almost a general theme for Grand Slams. Sometimes you just get the underdog who just becomes, as they say, either Novak Djokovic or Serena Williams for one set, and they're just playing out of their mind against a top player. And I love those moments at Grand Slams because they usually bring out, some really exciting and fun tennis. And sometimes they can take it all the way to the edge. The thing is that a lot of times the top players have that extra level that they can get to. I like that theme a lot.
I'll throw in Quentin Hallis against Holger Rune yesterday as well. I think, didn't he serve for that match? Yeah, that was tough.
That match going to 5 sets, Holger. We had to deal Holger. We had to get to Musetti. Thankfully, he did. So we will get to that match and what we're looking forward to in round 4. But I think the first story that I want to talk about in round 3, obviously, is Arthur Fils.
Who also kind of fits the theme in two different ways. First of all, he wasn't an underdog, but Hailey was in that five-setter. And like him winning that would probably have been a big story. But yeah, Arthur Fils then kind of taking the wind out of that epic win by retiring is also kind of fits.
So yeah, exactly. So everyone who doesn't know the story, so Arthur Fils played Joao Munar. It was a crazy 5-set match. The first 2 sets, the way Arthur Fils actually described this in press was perfect. He was like, I won the first 2 sets, I lost the next 2, and then I battled through the 5th. And that was exactly what it was. And during the match, he seemed to have an injury of some nature, but in the 5th, I don't know if it was adrenaline or what it was, and he completely just played like he was normal and he was fine. And we found out, I can't even remember what day it was now. Was it yesterday? No, he withdrew today, right?
It was yesterday, yes. I think we found out.
It was yesterday?
Yeah.
What day is it? I don't really know. But unfortunately, he had to withdraw from the tournament because he fractured his back. I think it was like the L5. Yeah. It's a
stress fracture.
Exactly. That's the word for it. He has a stress fracture.
He's not playing Wimbledon.
I mean, I don't see how he does. In his press conference for like withdrawing, he said it was like a 4 to 6 weeks recovery period. And I mean, that just puts you at Wimbledon, but I don't see how you play Wimbledon.
He rehabs very, very well.
Yeah.
And I don't see how he's fully fit in that first match.
Exactly. I almost just wouldn't even risk it because you don't want to sort of rush back in and, step onto court cold. Because like we said, 4 to 6 weeks is literally the start of Wimbledon, like Wimbledon starts. So when you're recovering from a stress fracture, you're not supposed to work out or hit a tennis ball or serve or any of that. So I'm betting that Arthur Fils doesn't play Wimbledon personally.
That would be the sensible thing to do. He says in 6 weeks' time, we could be talking about how Arthur Fils won Wimbledon with a stress-fractured back. But I do think that would be kind of dumb to try.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might put the rest of his season in jeopardy, and you probably don't want to do that, especially when I don't really think grass is one of his sort of top surfaces. He might as well rest up and then come back for the hard court later in the summer. So, yeah.
Wow, the New York crowds. It's all right. Well, I guess no Arthur Fils at Wimbledon means all the more limelight for Jack Draper.
Okay. I have been, I think, and I think this is just sort of the bias of what I have known Jack Draper to be, where Jack Draper was supposed to be, or is still supposed to be, sort of the next Andy Murray, right? I think we just do this in general. British player, former British, Big Four player. Of course he's going to do that replacement. And I think Jack Draper was a bright star and he was going to be the next Andy Murray, but he just didn't seem to have the stamina. I think for years, we would be talking about Jack Draper withdrawing from this tournament for this injury or that tournament from this injury, or he's throwing up on court because it's too long or anything like that. But today, Jack Draper played Joao Fonseca, and Jack has had a great season so far. He is a top 5 player in the world by ranking. Currently in the live rankings, he's actually number 4 in the world. But today was the first day watching a match, I thought, Jack Draper is a top 5 player.
It took you this long?
I don't know, because I always just thought, I was like, it's the draw, or, just good luck, or, he just happens to be playing well this week. But he dismissed the one and only Joao Fonseca, the next big 3 member, Brazil's hope. Understandably, Joao Fonseca has been hyped to the hills. Like, he is the next coming of the best tennis player ever to hit a tennis ball ever. And for good reason. He does hit the tennis ball really great. He's had some really great wins at Grand Slams. He's a great player. But the way Jack Draper just was the more experienced, smarter, just clutch player in this. It was the first time I thought, Jack Draper should just be beating all these people. So I see him now as a top 5 player. Like if he's playing against someone below his ranking, I will now assume that he can beat that person, which obviously in tennis you can't really do, as we know. It's not a hard and fast rule. But it was the first time where I was like, I'm going to start giving him the edge. He's deserved it.
He does deserve it. I mean, judging by the season he's had so far, I'm like, I'm talking to someone who took a while to come around to Jack Draper being this good as well, but probably got there slightly quicker than you did by the sound of it. Yeah, I'm certainly... There's scenarios where he doesn't get it. For instance, if Novak wins another French Open, like he won't be top 4. But I quite like the idea of him being a top 4 seed at Wimbledon, because I think, although having said that, the British media is going to go absolutely nuts.
Crazy.
Which is a whole different thing. But also, while we were talking, it's just dawned on me, like, Jack Draper and Carlos Alcaraz are both signed up to play Queens, which means they're going to have 2 of the top 4 players in the world playing. I don't know what... I think Sinner might be doing Halle, Zverev probably doing Halle, but now I'm like, ooh, we get an Alcaraz-Draper Queens final, because Draper beat Alcaraz last time they played on grass. So that's a bit of a tangent. But yeah, I'm excited by the prospect of Jack Draper kind of putting himself in that category, because I think Jack Draper is kind of the best of the rest behind Alcaraz, Sinner, and Novak right now.
Correct.
Like, and I know that might be controversial with like Novak's age and everything, but Novak is Novak. Yeah, so I think in my mind, Jack Draper's on. He's probably beating everybody else, bar those guys. I mean, you're saying Joao Fonseca's pretty hyped, but is he that good? Because I hear we've been getting questions about this.
So I think the raw talent is there. And I think when I definitely first saw him, I think it's now 2 years ago, because I think the first time I saw him, he was a training partner at the ATP finals in 2023 was the first time I noticed him. And then he obviously played Next Gen. So I noticed him there too. And I think the raw talent is there. But what I'm seeing now and what I'm seeing from especially this Jack Draper match, for example, it's too raw still. He doesn't pick the right shots. He's 18. He hits, it's one of those things where there were a lot of times during the match when it's like he's losing. You can tell that he's losing the points and everything. And his response to that is just to hit harder. And obviously then what he does is that he hits it out. So there was a lot of that. And then I think, again, there were a lot of revelations that I had in this Jack Draper and Joao Fonseca match. And, one of them was definitely like Jack Draper is here. Like he's finally in the top, I feel, top of players on the ATP. But also what I realized is Joao Fonseca is still a kid. He's still young. He will get there. He just has a lot of learning to do.
And hey, what you're describing sounds like Carlos Alcaraz when he was 18. So,
correct. Yeah.
It's a patch he's got to work through, and hopefully the first-time tennis watchers will eventually believe. I am referring to a story that you told me before recording. So,
yes, I think we'll talk about that more when we go into just doing a quick roundup of how the screenings have been going. But something I want to jump onto next is Ethan Quinn and Hailey Baptiste. These are 2 young Americans that, Nick, I think we've been talking about for a while now, at least since the spring. Their names come up in our episodes and we try and tell our audience about them. And I think this Roland Garros really kind of confirmed to me and also encouraged me with what we are trying to do in general. I think we are a podcast and we like to sort of explain things in simple language to people who are getting into the sport. We also like to give guides to tournaments, encourage people to go see tennis live, but also introduce them to new and upcoming players. We've at least been talking about Ethan Quinn since the Champagne Challenger last year in November. Hailey Baptiste, we've been talking about since the spring because I went to Charleston and I saw her play there. And look at them now. They both made it to the 3rd round of Roland Garros, and Hailey Baptiste specifically is now in the 4th round of Roland Garros. And I think that is just, if you've been following us at least, you now know who they are, and you kind of have a little bit of an insight into who they are as players. And I hope we can do more of this.
I hope so too. I think it's very exciting to sort of start a journey with a player when they're kind of coming through. And yeah, it's nice that for quite a few players who've broken out over the last sort of year or so since we've been doing this, it's kind of, we've kind of called it, saying these people are good, and then lo and behold, they start making an impact. So I'm definitely not surprised about Ethan Quinn. We've been hyping about him for a while. I'm pleased to see Hailey Baptiste kind of doing some things. I'll be interested to see how she does in her last 16. I'm excited by sort of what she can do. Again, I got caught out by her rise a little bit because, again, she's 22, 23 now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
like, I don't know where she was when she was like 18, 19, 20. But it's I'm definitely liking the fact that she's building up for something now and is pretty well established in that top 100.
Right.
And we'll be seeing her at Wimbledon and the US Open.
Yes, we definitely will. And that was also another thing. So she was in the top 100 before Ethan was, but because of this tournament, Ethan is now in the top 100. And for those who don't know, that's a really big deal in getting direct entry into Grand Slams and other tournaments. To make it into the top 100, it just becomes easier. Because, for example, Ethan, before the first round, had to play 3 matches to get into the main draw.
I mean, just to quickly say, because there is a Grand Slam coming up, he's got into the top 100 too late to get into Wimbledon, because the Wimbledon main draw is decided by the top 100 in the rankings 6 weeks before the event. Mm-hmm. So for Roland Garros, all Grand Slams. So that was the week after Rome. So that's been and gone. So what this means for Ethan is he'll probably have to do qualifying again for Wimbledon, but he'll be hoping that's the last time for a while, because he'll be looking to stay in the top 100 in time for the US Open, which, if my calculations are correct, that 6-week cutoff is the second week of Wimbledon. So he's looking good for that.
Great. Yeah. And speaking of Americans, we'll carry on with that theme, because I don't know. Have you watched any of Tommy Paul matches?
I think I watched his 5th set with Karen Khachanov.
Yeah.
I think, why didn't I watch? I think some of these matches, I think I chose to watch WTA matches over the vast majority of these 5-set matches that everyone else was watching.
Yeah.
Because that is the life choices that I make, and because I am, and some of them I've been justified.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, I want to watch and see how Tommy Paul is doing, but he just keeps playing these 5-set matches, Tommy Paul. It's almost kind of, I don't know how his body is doing. He is into the 4th round playing yet another 5-set match. And it's just become a little bit of, part of me is he needs to wrap these up quicker, especially in the early rounds of tournaments, because by the time you get to the quarterfinals, semifinals, it's all the match time starts to wear on you. But at the same time, there's been a lot of times in these 5-set matches where you're just like, well, he's losing. Mm-hmm. All the way from the first round, it was just kind of like, oh, well, he's done. And he just finds a way, which is very interesting. Being a grinder is not something I've ever, kind of thought of as Tommy Paul as a grinder, but he definitely is one.
Because, okay, his Roland Garros record until now hasn't been great. But he won it as a junior 10 years ago. He won the juniors in 2015. And he's done really, really well in Rome. And I'm pretty sure he's done pretty well at other clay events. So I think his game just works whatever surface on. And he's really, really adaptable. As well, it seems the entirety of the US stars are. So apart from maybe 1 or 2. But we're not going to dwell on that. But yeah, let's celebrate the fact that, Americans can play on clay again.
Your statement about Americans can play on clay again, it's been 40 years. So here's the record, everyone. There are 8 Americans in the 4th round of Roland Garros. And the last time that happened was 1985.
And that's combined men's and women's.
Yes, combined men's and women's. And it's crazy to me because I think our last episode that we recorded together, we were celebrating how many British players had made it through to the 2nd round. And, here we are celebrating how many Americans have made it onto the 4th round. But there are a lot I think part of the theme this year of Ground Pass is us commenting on how many Americans are in the top 100. There are just so many of them. So it's crazy that it's been 40 years since this has happened. But I think it also speaks to the current generation of American players and how serious they're taking breaking this kind of Grand Slam slump, especially on the men's side. Because on the women's side, they've got it. The women, thank goodness for the American women. they are,
they always have got it, by the way.
Yep.
Because
yeah.
like you're talking like 1985. I don't think that obviously Andre Agassi did all right on clay. He's the last American to win the French male. I am right with that. But yeah, we've had Serena. Chrissy's still the best, probably the female clay quarter of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sloane's wasn't bad on it, like in the peak of her career. Coco it's just a matter of time before she wins the French.
Yeah.
The women have definitely been holding things up, but it's nice to see, and this is a sign that like American men's tennis has evolved from just hit the serve as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Which might mean nothing to anyone who's just got here in terms of like newish fans. This is me going all tennis historian on you and probably getting a bit too technical, but in simple terms, that was basically how a lot of American men played for about 20 years.
Yeah. It was just hit the serve, so they don't return it. And the movement wasn't great. And it's nice to see players like Tommy Paul be able to grind through 5 sets and like push through and win on clay. Because I think that's really important. If the men want to win a Grand Slam, which the last time an American man won a Grand Slam was Andy Roddick, if they want to break that sort of record, they need to be good on all surfaces. They can't just wait till the US Open, because guess what? Jannik Sinner will win.
Or Carlos.
But right now, this is not even on our agenda. But right now, Jannik Sinner is the best player in the world, guys. Just if anyone was wondering. He's the best player in the world.
He dismissed Hailey Lehechka today. And he's been absolutely ruthless against all the Frenchmen he's played.
Yeah. But it was, I remember I posted about it and I was like, guys, it was 6-love, 5-love, I think. It was like 6-love, 5-love. And I was like, he's playing Yuri Lehechka. And I know Yuri Lehechka is not a well-known household name, but Yuri Lehechka is a phenomenal tennis player. He has been injured for a while, but he's coming back from injury, but he is a phenomenal player. And Jannik Sinner was just like, whatever, I'm winning. He just brushed him aside in the most dismissive way. And I just thought, who is going to bother him? Carlos Alcaraz. That's pretty much it.
Live pictures of Andrei Rublev right now.
Apologies to Andrei Rublev. I'm sure you're going to try your best, but I don't know. Andre. It's going to be really, really tough. Okay, the last story here I have before we go on to part 2 of this podcast is you pronounce it. Because when you pronounce it, then I can.
I believe it's pronounced Lois Boisson.
Lois Boisson. There we go. So Lois Boisson, who you might remember a few months, like a month ago maybe, we talked about because she had a certain altercation with one Harriet Dart. She is in the 4th round of Roland Garros. And I just wanted to talk about her because for me, it is the feel-good story of Roland Garros. She got a wild card last year into Roland Garros. She was a lower ranked French player, got a wild card, and a week before she was supposed to play Roland Garros on a wild card, she tore her ACL, which is devastating to any player. So not only then does she have to now, heal up, she had surgery, heal from the torn ACL, her ranking dropped and she's now grinding through the Challenger Tour and all of that stuff. But she got another wild card and she's finally able to prove how good of a player she is.
Lois Boisson has been a hyped French talent for a while. Like, I've seen her name put around as like, oh, she might be France's next big thing, and like, it was really gutting that she didn't get to play last year. I think she's made a few waves. She is the true ground pass story of this tournament. She's ranked 361, people. Like, you would only be seeing this girl on the ground pass. Not so much now. I fully expect her match with Jessica Pegula to be on Philippe Chatrier, not least because she is the last French player standing in women's singles and men's singles. Now Fils is out, despite the best efforts of Quentin Hallis. But yeah, she's going to be the star of France for the next sort of 48 hours when we look ahead to round 4.
Yeah, no, really great story, worth a watch. Whether you are at Roland Garros, please go see it, or if you're watching on TV, definitely just check her out. Next question for you, and this will be probably quick, but I think we should always just touch on what's going on in the doubles field because there's some really great pairings and things happening in doubles. Nick, is there any specific doubles pairing that you are looking forward to or paying attention to this tournament?
So honestly, no, because looking at the doubles field, it's the usual partnerships, and unfortunately, the way
which is kind of good, right?
Yeah,
because now you can follow them throughout the year.
It's great because like it's showing consistency in doubles. Like, yeah, go ahead, make your point. I was just going to say, like, I don't want to be down on oh that's boring.
No, because I like what you said there, because I think that's been a criticism a bit with the doubles field, where it's kind of like pairings switch back and forth and you don't have time to sort of latch on to a pairing and support them through the year and things like that. So you saying that it's kind of the same pairings, I love that. Like, that's great. We want the same pairing so you can see how they do from the Australian Open to the end of the year and hopefully longer. Guess what? The Bryan brothers were together. I mean, granted, they're twins and they really can't. They really can't be away from each other. Exactly.
Thanksgivings.
No Thanksgivings. But they were together for a long time. And I think that really helped fans attach themselves to them and, want to see how they were doing throughout the years.
Yeah, exactly. So the other difficulty with me is like with the doubles, apart from like Harrison and King's opening match where they were playing Gilles and Vlegan, I haven't seen any like blockbuster, two really good doubles teams are going to be playing each other yet, which again is a sign of like consistency coming across in the doubles. Like, the big clashes are going to come in the second week. But I think that's probably why you haven't seen so many doubles picks from us for like watch lists or things like that. Maybe that will come in like second week depending on any big name clashes that might happen in the singles. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it at the minute. Is like, yeah, doubles is great, watch doubles, but it's difficult to anticipate a hidden gem out there. But the good news is doubles is usually fairly exciting. I mean, slight tangent, I've been mainly paying attention to the doubles because quite a few people who were in the doubles and got through the first couple of rounds were entered into the Birmingham Challenger that's happening like starting
tomorrow.
This weekend, and like that's the grass season kicking off. And so I'm sitting there imagining the Birmingham organisers just sweating because some of their big names might be actually chasing doubles money at Roland Garros rather than going and playing their challenger. But still keep an eye out for the usually really good doubles pairings, which I'm seeing our notes here for the show, and like you've picked some really good pairings.
Yeah. I think what I would say is for this second week coming into Roland Garros, here are a few names that you should definitely be checking out and seeing how they're doing in doubles. Chris Harrison and Evan King. We've talked about them ad nauseum. You know how we feel. Of course, Taylor Townsend and women's doubles GOAT Katerina Siniakova. She should get a lot more praise for what she does. She plays with different players and wins Grand Slams. That's a great doubles pairing to watch. Henry Patton and Harry Heliovara, the Cinderella story of last year, won Wimbledon. They won the Australian Open this year. Can they do it at Roland Garros? Who knows? Can you imagine if they did? And then they're like one Grand Slam short of a no, not a
It
calendar
wouldn't be
Grand Slam.
calendar. Career?
Yeah. Career. There we go. A career
Yeah,
Grand
that would be
Slam.
US Open they'd need. But like,
Yeah.
also technically one short of a non-calendar slam.
True. Yeah. Again, their story is epic. And then, of course, our Indian Wells champions, Asia Muhammad and Demi Scherz, they are also still in the draw. And of course, I cannot leave them off the list, but Joe Salisbury and Neil Skupski are still in the draw. So go watch the Brits. Back the Brits.
Back the Brits indeed. Also, back the Brits in mixed doubles because Olivia Nichols and Henry Patton are playing together and they're doing quite well. As are and by the way, our Grounds Pass favourite doubles team, well, we don't really have a favourite, but they're the ones that we kind of have a soft spot for. Evan King and Christian Harrison might play each other in the mixed doubles quarterfinals, depending on how that's going, because Evan King's teamed up with Taylor Townsend and Chris Harrison's teamed up with Nicole Martinez, and they're both very accomplished women's doubles players, and if they both win their next matches, they're playing each other in the mixed doubles quarterfinals.
If they both win their next matches, their quarterfinal match is going to be on our match list to watch. Yeah. For sure. 100. I can guarantee you that is going to happen.
Guaranteed All-American team in the semifinals as well.
Ooh. Okay, that's exciting.
Things to look. If they both lose their matches tomorrow, it's going to be really awkward.
Just cut this part out of the podcast.
Anastasia, you posted it 24 hours ago.
Okay, so time to wrap it up, and we still have a bit to cover before we wrap it up, but really quickly so that we can get into the next section, because I really want to talk about what's happening next week because it's all coming hard and fast. But just really quickly, what matches are you looking forward to, Nick, in round 4?
Okay. Both those matches are happening. Let's face it, round 4 on the women's side is mwah, by the way. Mm-hmm. Just fantastic, particularly in the half that's happening on the Sunday. And they are, I'm going to say, they are Paolini Svitolina, because I think that one could genuinely go either way. I think Aryna Sabalenka should watch out because Amanda Anisimova is coming for her, because Amanda Anisimova is Sabalenka's Elena Ostapenko. Except Sabalenka has got a couple of wins over her. And actually, whenever Sabalenka beats Anisimova, she usually wins the tournament. Just saying. I'm interested to see what the battle of the former Roland Garros semi-finalists in Mira Andreeva and Daria Kasatkina is like on Monday. But let's face it, the match that I think it's going to be my watch list match for day 8 is Iga Swiatek against Elena Rybakina. Because that is a match that will probably define both their seasons.
Yeah. Ooh, Nick. Wow. That was big, but you're right.
Yeah.
You're so right. In so many ways. Okay, now I'm watching that match for sure. Now that's okay. That's a storyline.
I'm out in the morning.
That match will define their seasons.
I'm out in the morning and I really hope that Paolini Svitolina goes long so I can catch it.
That is such a line. Okay, Nick. Anyone who's listening, you better turn on that match because that is so right. Whichever way that match goes could really change things a lot. And I didn't even think of that until you said it that way. So, okay. Looking forward to it.
Iga's 4th round match since the start of the tournament. It's here.
You're right. It's here.
This is it.
This is it. Okay. Well, for me, definitely Mira Andreeva and Daria Kasatkina, the vlogging buddies, definitely want to see how that goes. Madison Keys, Hailey Baptiste, established American player, young American player coming up. That's going to be key. But the match to watch, guys, for the drama, for just I think we talked about this on the episode I did with Mitch, and the way he described it is like short shorts and sleeveless shirts. So, Lorenzo Musetti, cut off your sleeves and get ready to play against Holger Rune and his short shorts. Let's get it going. That is going to be my match to watch on day 8, for sure.
I mean, it's the 4th round match everyone was been waiting for that section of the draw, let's be honest, because that was the rival. That rivalry is probably going to decide the semi-final opponent for Carlos Alcaraz. Either's good, let's be honest. I'm looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. And they put it on the night session, so we've all got a great opportunity to see it.
It better deliver. Better deliver, everyone. But okay, so let's go into the final section, a little, some bits to like wrap up with. But Nick, first things first, tennis never stops, everyone. It keeps on going. It just keeps on going.
It doesn't, because this Grand Slam's not stopped, Anastasia. Oh, wait, there's something else happening, isn't there? So, yes, I alluded to it earlier. The Birmingham Open, the Birmingham Challenger is starting this week. And that means grass season's here, baby. And
it's here.
It doesn't have, the superstars aren't going because they're all trying to win the French Open, but it is the start of the British tennis summer, and I'm excited for it. I've done a little reel TikTok to tell you a bit more about the tournament, so I'm not going to go over it all here, but I think that's a nice extra thing to keep an eye on, just to see how everyone's grass court warm-up's going, or if you fancy just adding a little bit of colour to your world, if you are done just looking at orange all the time.
Yes, it is time for the grass season. There's something about grass season starting. You just think fresh, crisp grass, warm summers, Pims. It's exciting.
Chronic hay fever.
Okay, Nick. But yes, the grass season is here, and Nick will definitely be jumping in a lot more with some, reels and shorts and things like that for the grass season coming up. So look forward to those. I'm going to be talking to our friends over at Blackspin Global because they went to the Queen's tournament last year. And this year, Queen starts right after the French Open, but it's bringing back the women's tournament at Queen's. So there's going to be a women's tournament at Queen's. I saw the little sort of social media clips of the new trophy for the women being sort of in Trafalgar Square being presented. It was actually really nice to see. I was fascinated to see they had all the old winners from when there was always a women's tournament there. And then now there's this gap. And, the women are back at Queen's. The queens are back at Queen's. And I will be talking to Lucy and Eugene from Blackspin Global about their experience on the ground so that they can let you guys know before the tournament starts what it's like, what the grounds are like, what to expect. So I'm recording with them Thursday morning Eastern time. So that should come out Thursday evening Eastern time, just so that you know. And Thursday, don't know what date it is, but this coming Thursday is when I will be talking with them. And what else is... Yeah.
That's not the only podcast collab that we're doing, is it, Anastasia?
No, it is not. So, you know...
let's be honest. If I could be involved, I would, but that involves me getting on a last-minute plane trip, and I'm not entirely sure I'd get there in time.
What about teleporting?
I'll talk to Scotty.
Okay, good. You should. But yes... As you know, I've been hosting these sort of live screenings at McCarran Park, which is a park near me in Brooklyn, New York. And I was talking to Nick before we started recording. It's been really nice watching tennis with not only tennis fans, but people who are new to the sport and introducing them to the sport. And, I got a lot of people to watch Nick's video that he made about scoring and, it kind of got them understanding how the scoring works in the game. But as a result of that, I am going to be hosting a live podcast tomorrow in Brooklyn with the Rennae Stubbs podcast. So it's going to be Rennae Stubbs, Caitlin Thompson, who also is on the podcast with her and is the editor-in-chief of Racquet magazine, and little old me and me from Ground Pass. So this has been one of the most surprising just sort of like opportunities that has come up, but I'm excited. I'm excited to talk tennis with them. And what we'll do is the podcast is live tomorrow, which is Sunday. It is going to be recorded, and then we will put it on both of our streams for Monday. At least I will put it on Ground Pass on Monday. I think they might also on Monday or maybe on Sunday, the day of. We will see. But I'm excited. It should be fun,
I think it's
hopefully.
going to be fun because I think Rennae and Caitlin, if anyone's not heard their podcast, they don't tend to hold back with what they think about
Mm-hmm.
things. But it's done in a way, despite the fact that Rennae is an ex-tennis player and Caitlin is someone who's been watching or involved with tennis for years. They are super accessible and like put things in pretty blunt terms. And I'm excited to see, and they just love tennis as a community, as an atmosphere, and I think they're going to really add to the fun at McCarran's. And let's see how rowdy the studio audience gets, I guess.
Let us see. It's gonna be interesting. I'm a little bit nervous, but also excited for it to happen as well. Nick, as always, as we do, we kind of run long. As you know, we try to keep these under half an hour, but maybe we've gone a little bit over.
Is this even a mini
So
pod anymore, Anastasia?
I don't know. I don't know what a mini pod is anymore. But we're going to wrap it up here. Again, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening and following and paying attention. Because, again, I don't think if you weren't listening and following us and all of that stuff, that this sort of opportunity to do a live podcast would have come our way. So, thank you for that. Again, we will be back. Nick is gearing up for his grass season deluge, I'm gonna call it. He's just gonna, grass season all over you, and it's gonna
Pour
be
a sack of grass cuttings over me.
okay. Then you really get hay fever for sure. Just saying. But yes, thank you again. If you're listening to this on a podcast feed of your choice, please give us 5 stars, leave a comment, let us know how we're doing and what else you would love to see. And if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. You know the deal. Thank you all, and we'll see you in a couple of days, actually. Bye, guys.